Roman legionaries marched 20 miles a day in full armor, carried loads exceeding 80 pounds, and maintained the leg conditioning to fight pitched battles immediately at the end of those marches. They had no squat rack, no leg press, no cable machines. And yet modern athletes who spend years building their lower bodies in fully equipped gyms rarely develop the functional leg strength that Roman soldiers considered a baseline requirement for service. So what were they doing that gym culture has spent decades ignoring? Here's something that's going to sound completely wrong at first. The exercises most people consider essential for building legs, barbell back squats, leg press, leg curls, are not the most effective muscle builders, and they're quietly accumulating joint damage in the process. The Romans built elite lower body conditioning through movements that loaded muscle without grinding joints. And the 6 exercises in this video follow that exact same principle. No barbells, no leg press, no machines, just 6 movements that produce more muscle tension, trigger more growth, and create less joint damage than almost any conventional leg exercise. And here's the part that sounds impossible. The science behind why they work better is the same reason your current leg training is leaving gains on the table. I'll explain exactly what that means, but first, do you know which of these 6 exercises research shows builds more hamstring muscle than the leg curl machine? You'll find out soon enough. Stay with me. Think about what a barbell back squat actually does to your body. Hundreds of pounds loaded directly onto your spine, lumbar discs compressed rep after rep, year after year. Knees tracking in patterns determined by the bar position, not your anatomy. The squat feels productive because it's brutally hard, but hard and effective are not the same thing. The leg press is arguably worse. A machine that lets you move enormous loads while your stabilizers, your glutes, your core, your entire posterior chain are completely disengaged. You feel strong in the gym, you step off the platform, and you're functionally no stronger than when you started. Here's what the research actually shows about building muscle. The primary driver of hypertrophy isn't the load on the bar, it's muscular tension, specifically tension through a full range of motion with emphasis on the lengthened position. And the movements that achieve that best in the lower body don't require a single plate. The first exercise has been dismissed by mainstream fitness culture for decades. That dismissal is a mistake, and the anatomy explains exactly why. The sissy squat isolates the quadriceps through a range of motion that no conventional gym machine can replicate, loading them maximally at full stretch, precisely where the research shows muscle growth is greatest. Leg extensions work the quads in a shortened position. Barbell squats distribute the load across the entire lower body, reducing quad-specific tension significantly. The sissy squat does neither of those things. It places the entire demand directly on the quadriceps through a deep, controlled knee flexion with no load on the spine whatsoever. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart, heels slightly elevated on a plate or the edge of a surface if needed for balance. Hold onto something stable with one hand. A door frame, a rack, a wall, for control, not support. From there, lean your torso back and lower your knees toward the floor simultaneously, keeping your body in a straight line from knee to shoulder throughout the descent. Your heels will rise as your knees travel forward. Lower until your quads are fully stretched and your knees are close to the ground. Drive back up through the quads alone. Start with body weight and focus entirely on the range of motion before adding any load. Progress by holding a weight plate against your chest or using a weighted vest. 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. The quad development this produces is direct, measurable, and completely joint-friendly when performed with control. The sissy squat handles quad isolation through a lengthened range. But there's a second movement that most programs almost completely ignore. And ignoring it is exactly why so many people end up with chronic hamstring problems and lower back pain that compounds over years of training. The Nordic curl trains your hamstrings in a way no machine replicates. A standard leg curl machine works your hamstrings through a shortened range. You lie face down, the muscle contracts, and the movement ends before your hamstring ever reaches full length under load. The Nordic curl does the opposite. Maximum tension occurs precisely when your hamstring is at full stretch, and that is exactly where the research shows growth happens. Here's the exercise I mentioned at the start. Studies directly comparing the Nordic curl to leg curl machines show greater hamstring hypertrophy from the Nordic curl. That result isn't random. It's the lengthened position principle in action. Anchor your heels, a couch, a training partner holding your ankles, or a door attachment specifically designed for Nordic curls all work. Kneel upright with your body forming a straight line from knee to shoulder. Lower your torso toward the floor as slowly as possible, resisting with your hamstrings the entire way down. When you can no longer control the descent, catch yourself with your hands and use them to press back to the starting position. The goal over time is to lower yourself fully under muscle control with no hand assistance. 3 sets. Lower as slowly as you can. That eccentric phase under load is where the hamstring mass comes from. Now here's the one most people dismiss before they understand what it actually demands. The pistol squat removes every mechanical advantage the gym has given you and forces your leg to do all the work alone. No bar redistributing load across your spine. No bilateral symmetry hiding the weaker side. No machine dictating the movement path. Just one leg, your full body weight, and a range of motion that most training programs never come close to reaching. Research into single leg training consistently shows that quad recruitment during the pistol squat matches or exceeds what's recorded during barbell squats, with 0 axial spinal loading. The deeper range of motion also means your quads are loaded at their most stretched, which, as established, is where hypertrophy research points for maximal growth. Most people cannot do a pistol squat on day 1. That's the point. Start with assisted pistol squats. Hold on to a chair or something else sturdy with one hand for balance, and lower yourself as deeply as possible on one leg before standing back up. Over weeks, reduce the assistance progressively until you're unassisted. Then add a weighted vest or backpack. 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps per leg. The single leg quad strength and muscular development that follows is beyond what bilateral gym training can produce. The 4th exercise targets the entire posterior chain through a hip hinge with emphasis on the lengthened position under load, exactly where science shows maximum muscle growth occurs. And unlike the conventional deadlift, every single rep forces your glutes and stabilizers to fire at maximum capacity just to keep you upright. More total muscle recruitment. No axial spinal loading, no gym required. That's the single leg Romanian deadlift. Stand on one foot, soft bend in the knee, weight in the opposite hand. A dumbbell, a filled backpack, a jug of water, it works the same way. Hinge at your hip, not your lower back, and let the weight travel down your standing leg as your trailing leg lifts behind you as a counterbalance. Feel your hamstring stretch fully under tension. Once that stretch peaks, drive your hip forward to stand back up, squeezing your glute hard at the top. Control is everything here. 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps per leg with a 4-second lowering phase on every rep. If balance is a challenge at first, lightly touch a wall with your free hand, but work toward doing it unassisted. That instability is part of what makes this exercise so effective. Before the final exercises, everything in this video is built from the same principles behind the No Gym Warrior program. It's a complete 12-week bodyweight training system based on historical warrior methods, Spartans, Vikings, Roman soldiers, structured so that anyone can follow it with 0 equipment. If you want the full program and a week-by-week plan instead of piecing it together yourself, the link is in the description. Now, back to the video. The step up is one of the most underestimated leg exercises in existence. It looks simple, and it is. But simple doesn't mean easy. The simplest exercises are often the best for muscle growth because they're simple to progress on, which the step up is. A loaded step up trains your glutes and quads through a full range of unilateral hip extension, the same movement pattern responsible for every athletic output your legs produce, with no spinal compression, no bilateral compensation, and no machine dictating the path. Research comparing step-ups to barbell squats shows equivalent quad and glute activation when performed with proper depth and loading. The key variable is the height of the step. Most people use a surface that's too low. The box should be high enough that your thigh is at least parallel to the floor when your foot is placed on it. That range and above is where the muscle is built. Find a box, bench, or any sturdy surface at roughly knee height. Step up, driving through the heel of the elevated foot. Bring the trailing knee up to hip height or higher at the top. Lower back down with complete control. Do not push off with your back foot. That's the detail that separates this from an average exercise to S tier. 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps per leg. Add a weighted vest or backpack or hold something heavy at your sides to progress. Your glutes will tell you immediately whether you're doing this correctly or not. The final exercise targets the most neglected muscle group in most lower body programs, and it directly determines everything from hip stability to sprint power to the long-term health of your lower back. Your glutes are the largest, most powerful muscles in your body, and the single leg glute bridge develops them with a level of isolation and range that gym machines rarely come close to. Here's what makes the single leg variation genuinely superior to the bilateral version. With both legs driving, your stronger side compensates silently. Imbalances accumulate over months and years without ever becoming obvious in the gym. The single leg variation eliminates that compensation entirely, forcing maximum glute activation on each side independently. Research on glute activation consistently shows that single leg hip extension movements produce higher peak muscle recruitment than bilateral variations. Lie on your back, one foot flat on the floor, the other leg extended straight. Drive through your grounded heel and lift your hips until your body forms a straight line from shoulder to knee. Squeeze your glute hard at the top for 1 full second. Lower with complete control. 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps per leg. Once that becomes manageable, elevate your back and foot on something sturdy. The increased range of motion at the bottom significantly amplifies the stimulus. Add something heavy across your hip for further loading. The glute development from this progression carries over to every other movement in this list. 6 exercises. Sissy squats and pistol squats to build quad and hip strength that outperforms most bilateral gym programs. Nordic curls and single leg Romanian deadlifts for hamstrings and a posterior chain built for power and longevity. Step-ups and single leg glute bridges to complete the lower body with the glute and stabilizer strength that makes everything else function correctly. Train these 2 to 3 times per week. Add reps or resistance consistently over time. Don't chase load before you've mastered the movement. The movement is the mechanism. Do this for 6 months and you'll build more real leg muscle than most people accumulate in years of gym training, while keeping the joints that make all of it sustainable. No machines required, no barbell needed. Just 6 movements that actually work. Start where you are and build from there. The progress will take care of itself.